guys, welcome to the BOP, the Blurred official podcast. We are back. Oh my gosh, this is part two, our love letter to Marvel. We'll probably do like 10 shows because I don't know that we could fit it into 2 shows, but we're definitely going to try. We're going to scratch the surface. But before we go any further, I have to introduce my co-host, Mr. Blurred Khan himself, Hilton George. How you doing?
Oh, I'm happy to be back. Listen, we talking comic stuff and nerd stuff. I am in heaven. I got 2 beautiful ladies here to talk nerd stuff with me. We can do this all weekend. Don't even hit stop. Let's just run.
All weekend. Me too. I am like so excited. And guys, Christi Renee, she's still in Wakanda. She has not come back from Wakanda. Christi, how you doing?
I am feeling Wakanda-lacious, honey. I'm ready. I'm excited. I loved our last show, just talking about all things Marvel. I'm excited to dive back in. Yes, I did not leave Wakanda.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, right. So yes.
I know. Can you imagine if there was really a Wakanda in the world? I'm sure. I've never been to Africa. I've never been to Africa, so I'm sure there is. It's just a beautiful landscape, a beautiful place that I think that is where all people of color, all of us, we feel like that's heaven on earth at least.
that's our Mecca. Really it is in all honesty. So I love Wakanda. I love the whole concept. It's good. I'm glad we got a chance to tackle a lot of that, but there's always so much more we could say about it.
There's so much more. Because literally part 1, we scratched the surface. We barely scratched the surface. We talked about WandaVision, we talked about Loki, we talked about Black Panther, and that's the beautiful thing, and that's why we felt like we needed to do a love letter. I've never ever in my life experienced an entertainment company such as Marvel, who has literally entertained me for over 10 years and they have not lost me yet, and they are so wonderful at representing other cultures, representing them the right way, and it's been so beautiful because I know people, like I think you had mentioned this, Hilton, there were so many people who had never watched a Marvel movie, but when they saw Black Panther, they now became fans of obviously of that movie, but they ended up watching Endgame, and they ended up watching Infinity War, and now
then going back to like watch going back to catch up and see all the faces that they felt like were new. But it's incredible.
It's been beautiful. Well, this was my first movie that I'd seen since the pandemic, and I literally wore like 2 masks. I did not get any popcorn, and I'm gonna tell you right now, when I go to movies, the snacks are equally
important.
It's important. It's like part of the venture. But I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I didn't do nothing because I was like, I don't want the Rona. But I have to see this movie because I knew social media would ruin it for me. I did not stand a chance. And the movie I'm talking about is Spider-Man: No Way Home. I'd have the things that happened in this movie, I'd have had to beat a bitch for ruining it for me. And I'm not a violent person, but I'm telling you,
boogie with the bear.
Yes, they would have boogied with this bear because
pray for the bear, honey.
But I knew they would do it. I knew literally I had went to go see it, and that evening I saw all this stuff online because they're terrible. Like they don't care. Yeah. I think that all they want to do is ruin it for someone, or they go, "Oh, my bad. That's not the whole movie though." And I'm like, but that is probably like the biggest cliffhanger or the biggest twist of the movie.
Gotta be sensitive.
Yeah. And so the good thing about this, it has been months since that movie has come out. So we are not ruining it for anyone.
No, we're not. So
and we can talk freely. We can give we can give our full and honest opinions. But one thing I'll tell you is I've had moments where, in Infinity War, when people started disappearing, I lost it in the theater. I literally was screaming. And when T'Challa disappeared, I really was about to go jump off a cliff. And then the whole moment, yeah, I'm telling you, I had a love affair with Chadwick Boseman. The whole moment when Peter Parker and Iron Man had their moment.
I cried.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't feel well. It just
their
was
relationship
one of those
in general is just incredible. So yeah,
and that's the one thing that I love, because the movies since Endgame and since we lost, Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, they didn't walk away from the grief or the aftermath of losing these people in these characters' lives. Like we saw WandaVision, you saw how she coped with all the trauma she'd experienced and losing Vision, and you saw that. Well, the last two Spider-Man movies have really dug deep into Peter Parker, struggling to become who Tony Stark saw him. Tony Stark knew he had it in him to be this guy and to be, almost like him. He knew he would follow in his footsteps. And you see Peter Parker struggle with that. And they really did an excellent job in this last movie. I mean, I enjoy. I'm gonna let you guys talk, because I'll go. I could talk for a whole hour, but Hilton, I'm gonna pass the mic to you. Give me one or two tidbits of what you got from Spider-Man No Way Home, because there's like 80 tidbits you could get.
There's a lot happening in this movie.
It was a
if
good
you haven't
movie.
seen it, you're
good writing,
and you don't care about being spoiled, and you're still here and you haven't seen it, then I'm sorry for you. But let me tell you something. It has confirmed that all of the Spider characters in every multiverse iteration that there is defined by loss. And we thought that this Spider-Man had experienced that loss when Tony Stark snapped, all the Infinity Stones and Thanos away. But it turned out that the loss of his Aunt May, in the same vein as the other two lost their Uncle Ben's, was the defining moment for him. And we didn't know that of him. We did not want that for him. The idea of bringing in this dynamic younger Aunt May, to kind of be more of a contemporary character. She's dating Happy, and she's, she knows who Spider-Man is. She's kind of cool with it, and whatever. But we find that is what defines Spider-Man, and it has always been one of the things that define him as a hero, is the sense of loss, and ergo, the sense of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility, and you see it in the movie, that moment of connection, and all three of the Spider-Men knew exactly where his life arc was. The next thing that we noticed is that this is the Spider-Man 3 in the Tobey Maguire iteration that should have happened. I was worried about this movie because the reason why, in my humble opinion, that Spider-Man 3, the first Spider-Man 3, failed was because they were doing too much. You had so four villains. Any one of the villains could have been a movie character. Exactly. From Venom kind of being a side character to Sandman, and then Hobgoblin, and it's like, why are all these people here? And they didn't balance the story out. It just, like you said, it was just, it was like almost a giant. Yeah, you didn't care about the characters or anything. So when I look at the trailer for this movie, and I'm sitting there like, oh my God, look how many people on the screen, child, they about to do it again. But I was sitting there like, no, Feige will not let me down, Feige. So I was hopeful, and I go in this movie, and I will confess, I am not the biggest Spider-Man fan in the world. I mean, I love Spider-Man. He is one of the backbones of the Marvel universe, and defines a lot of what distinguishes Marvel from any other, comic book label and genre over the decades. But he was not my guy, in that way as he is for some people. Listen, this movie captured the heart of Spider-Man across all the universes. It allowed for the humanization of all of its villains, even the ones that didn't do what they were supposed to do when they should have done what they were supposed to do. And this redemption arc that all of them went through, willingly or unwillingly, closing the door on some of these characters that had, that were being reintroduced to us. I mean, it was just an amazing way to tell the story, and an amazing way to bring, and the ending where everyone
Oh,
forgets who
yes.
Spider-Man is and
Mhm.
ostensibly who Peter Parker is,
Yeah.
bringing him back to the comic book era of Spider-Man where he was a lone superhero and nobody knew who he
Yes.
was, and he didn't have a mentor in Tony Stark,
Mhm.
and all of that stuff that came out after the fact in another story.
Yeah.
I just thought it was perfect. There was no part of this film, I saw it
was
3 times in the theater,
heartbreakingly perfect.
nothing in this film that I was like, they should change this or that shouldn't be there. Even
Yeah.
the after credit scenes, I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
no, that's
Yeah.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Because
So
you
yes,
wanted
10 out of
like
10.
it was
Yeah.
heartbreakingly, tragically perfect.
yeah.
Like it was, yeah, like I mean, up until this point, like he'd really been very like I don't want to like, you know, just be flippant about it, but up until this point, Peter Parker was kind of cute. And I really loved the fact that he was you know, the actor, he really won us over because he's got good comedy timing. He had good like him and Robert Downey Jr. had really good chemistry. Him and Zendaya had really good chemistry. Yeah, so you were,
They do now, girl. Let me
right? Right? Like oh man. So anyway, so it was one of those things where, up until this point, he'd had tragedy, but like you said, when he loses Aunt May and when he makes the ultimate sacrifice, because if you haven't seen the movie, I'm going to spoil it all for you right now. There is a moment where the multiverse and all these anyone who knows Spider-Man is coming to find Spider-Man. And this is basically going to destroy the world. And he looks at Doctor Strange and tells him, he goes, do the spell. And he goes, but if I do the spell, it's going to clear the memory of you from everyone, including me. Like I won't remember you. And you saw Peter Parker grow up in that moment, and he was no longer this, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He was no longer this kid, and he said, "Do it. You got to do." And it's like it's almost like all of the characters at some point in a Marvel movie have had that moment where they go from boys to men. Like they had to man up, and they had to put themselves on the line. And Tony Stark had to, he knew, like that's why Doctor Strange was like, if I tell you, how you're gonna win this end game, you won't do it. There's only one chance. Right. But he knew in that moment, I'm gonna have to die in order to do this, to save the world.
Before I let it go any further, before we end up outside of Spider-Man, I gotta tell you, if you're watching Endgame and you're watching this movie, the Spider-Man movie, you are going to see the same moment where Tony Stark is hovering over Toby, over Spider-Man as he's getting snapped and he's disintegrating. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same shot. It's the same lighting. It's the same angle. Almost the same timing as him hovering over Aunt May. He is having the same moment that Tony Stark had that defined him. Because remember, Endgame, he wasn't going to do it. But he looked at a picture and saw Peter Parker and him, doing this. And he was like, that's when he changed his mind and said, we got to go through time and fix this and bring everybody back.
Well, because he even said, he told Captain America, he was like, I've got a good life. I'm not going to. And he goes, if it comes down to me and you, me saving you, I'm not going to do it. Like, I'm not going to, he wanted to go back to his daughter, go back to his life. And, but this is the other thing. They did an excellent job of bringing in the other Spider-Mans from the multiverse. Like,
wait a second.
Yes.
I want to celebrate.
Well, yes, you got the mic. You got the mic. I just opened the door for you. It's your turn.
Thank you. Let me holler for the people, for the real folks that saw Andrew Garfield come in and first just stood up. If you just stood up like, we winning. And then predicted. I turned to my son and said, if Tobey Maguire walks into this damn set, I'm going to lose my shit. And I lost it. I absolutely lost it too. I got up and I ran. And I know
you did church run.
Listen. At first it was a shout, then it was a run. Like, get the white sheet, get the oil, get all of that. Everything we need for the
oil.
Listen, get the Nurses Guild. Like, everybody had to come out and rescue me because I lost my mind. I cried, I cheered, everybody in the theater. But I'm the one. I have to move around. I'm like that. I'm I'm the black moviegoer that's like, oh, I got to stand up and walk around somewhere because you got to walk it off.
See, I wouldn't want to go to the movie with you. I'd be like, no, you're distracting me. I need quiet.
Now listen, no. This is only while people are cheering, because I'm one of those where I'd be like, are you breathing? Don't breathe in the movie. Don't breathe in the movie.
I don't want to. Yeah, don't distract me. Don't eat your popcorn is during. You can only eat popcorn and snacks during the previews.
And even wait a minute. And I'm even one of those preview watchers that's like, can you be quiet? Like I'm watching the So I loved this movie so much. I like you, Karen. That was my first movie since 2020, since March of 2020, when the world shut down. Spider-Man No Way Home was my first film going to see in public with other people. And let me just say this. I have enjoyed watching movies at home. I do not intend to change.
Me too.
I have been happy with streaming services. I have favorite things and I'm like, thank you so much. Like I have even more respect for them that take that route, right?
Yes.
But this one was worth it. And I went out and I loved it. I cried. I loved the range of emotions. Yes, you're right. I feel like, Peter Parker, this kid right now, he brought so much. He has this innocence. He's just innocent. Yeah. Let me tell you one of my favorite
casting. Casting.
Yes. And let me tell you one of my favorite moments. And it was the most random writing, but it was almost like that was not written into any script. It was when the three of them were up there talking about when they thought, you're in a band, because he was talking about the Avengers, and they just had this whole off the cuff conversation for 3 whole minutes. And I'm like,
I'm Spider-Man number 2. I thought you were who's number 1. Right. I don't know who you're talking to.
It was the most random exchange and dialogue. And I just fell in so much in love. And I tell you what, I don't, again, now I have to go back. I don't like people dying in these films because I want to go, and it's like it's a hero story. It's the hero's journey, and I get that there has to be some pain and some loss, but it's like lose a fight, maybe don't like die. Like when Andrew Garfield was, in that one film, I know y'all talked about, it was 1,000 people in the film, but I cried when Mary Jane died. Was it Mary Jane?
Oh yeah,
it was. And I cried. I was like, why are we doing this? This is comic book land. Like, what are we doing? But
yeah, you gotta
understand it.
It has to be big losses. If you have big wins, you got to have big losses,
And we kind of talked about this in the other show, is that it also, again, they have an out, they have a way to make other things happen. And I feel like in real life, I'm like, when I leave this earth, that this is just one space to be in. I'm gonna be in 12 other spaces, and I am in 12 other spaces now, so it's just an incredible way. They just, again, they got it right. It was worth it. It was worth the possibility of catching the cootie. I would do it. I would do it again and again. It was just very well done. And I loved when they did bring it just made sense. Like they brought him back and they held him in. And listen, that line that Jamie Foxx gives about, I thought Spider-Man was black, because the way he described, I thought, oh Lord. And then I thought, if they bring Miles Morales in here right now, I'm gonna faint. I'm literally.
But I think that's where the multiverse is gonna go. I can't imagine that we're not gonna get a Miles Morales. I mean, as well as that movie did, I can't imagine we're not gonna get him at some point.
The animated sequel is in the works, I think.
Yeah,
so we are getting an animated sequel, but a live action casting is kind of where everybody's, kind of fan casting, like, oh, I want that person to play, I want that person to play, but
I just thought we're so technologically advanced that they were just gonna have the animated character walk across the screen,
show up, and be part of it.
Lord.
I am black. It is a black one.
Yeah, it's funny though. I just, you brought up the end credit, and like I was so, where he walks. The first end credit is where he walks into the diner. MJ is there, his best friend is there. They're all kind of, but they don't know who he is. And he goes and he tells her before, Dr. Strange, basically wipes out everybody's memory. He tells her, I'm going to find you. Mm-hmm. And so you see her, he's watching her, and I'm like, he's gonna find her. And of course he didn't say anything. And you're just, my heart, it's just like the woman in me, I was screaming, I wanted to cry, I wanted to scream, I wanted to do all of that, but it was perfect because it just sets up so much more for the future. But man, it is like, oh, it was tragically beautiful. Like this movie was, I mean, it really tapped into the emotional heartstrings, and I just enjoyed seeing Peter Parker grow up, and I enjoyed seeing him, lose a lot and become strong from it. Like I just was like, wow, this is just so freaking cool.
This is another example of when, people who are Disney MCU fans like us,
Yes.
we look at Sony owned and Fox owned properties and go, sell Winthorpe, sell, get everybody in the boat,
oh my God, that's
we're like, enough of
movies.
This is stop, stop playing games. Just go ahead and sell it to Disney, get your billions, go buy an island somewhere.
They'll never let it go though.
You can tell that they got a better plan for Spider-Man over here at Disney than y'all got over here at Sony. And so just let it go. It's okay.
Well, it's funny. Remember, at one point this year, they basically said like Sony and the deal with Disney kind of fell through. And they were like, and Tom Holland was even like, no, like you saw where he probably, I'm sure his agent, he called and was like, look, I'll walk away because I don't want to, like the crossover that has been laid out of all of these characters. There's no way we can do it without that. There's no way we can carry on and act like his, we never mention Iron Man, or we act like none of that happened. This is not going to work.
Right.
And, like they obviously they're onto something. You look at Sony has yet to give us the right X-Men film. They just can't. The only one that they got right was right. The only one they got right was what is it?
First Class.
Yeah, and that was the only one. Yeah, that was the only one. And then they got what's his name? Oh, it's like in these moments, my mind just goes blank. I can't.
Do they have Deadpool?
Deadpool,
because he's my favorite.
Deadpool, they got right. But if you think about it, they just can't. Like they're not on a roll. DC struggles with it as well. They can't seem to figure out their lane or their world, and they're too busy trying to like dip into what like it's almost like if you copy what someone else is doing, you're never going to be it because you're the carbon copy of what it is, and they almost need to just like you said, they need to give up Spider-Man, let Disney handle that. And then they need to really focus and hone in on, giving us another Deadpool and then obviously fixing X-Men. Because that
don't forget,
so much work.
They've got an entire department over at Disney whose only job is to keep every storyline in place. They are almost like the TVA in that they sit down and say, okay, if we're going to have a TV show that's going to have a storyline running concurrent with one of the movies that are either coming out before it, during it, or after it, then we got to make sure they're on pace and that they're on script and that no one's getting ahead of each other. There's no spoilers in the show. It's brain numbing thinking about all of the stories that are being told concurrent with movies that are being released and shot.
Staying true to the comics, not, it's like all these,
and making good juggling. Movies.
And juggling with fire.
Nobody else has that. Sony doesn't have it. Fox doesn't have it.
No.
And this is why. And again, I don't want to get too far off of the script. But what is known about a lot of these other franchises? Like DC does excellent animated movies, but their cinematic movies lack something. And it may change with the Snyderverse kind of moving forward. But DC does great with its C-list characters. They, the less they care about a character. I mean, I don't know if you're paying attention to Peacemaker, but Peacemaker's brilliant, and it ain't about shit.
They didn't get no budget. They were like, over there, here, put this
riding
on.
around in a truck, just playing.
He's got the 1980 costume from whatever.
Exactly.
That's
so they
funny.
do brilliant with that at Marvel. I mean, at DC, and then you have like a Deadpool, these one-off characters that you have the right actor, who has the right script writer. Ryan Reynolds has been Deadpool in his acting since what was the movie? Not Van Morrison. Was it Van Morrison?
Yes. That
one that played him. He's been that has been his character.
He knows his shtick.
So let him have his flowers and let him do what he wants to do. But at some point, you're gonna have to widen out that universe. So Marvel has got the plan, and they're going to do some amazing stuff. I don't think any other studio could pull off what they're going to do with the multiverse. And if we're going to talk about Eternals, I'll let you introduce it. I won't, because that's controversial.
You know what?
Everybody don't let it.
This is the thing. Eternals and Black Widow were the only two, and Eternals, Black Widow, and what was the other one that just did not do it for me? Oh gosh, the original Avenger, not Captain America, but the female,
Marvel.
Yes,
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
I love her. I like Brie Larson. I think she's great in that role. I'm sorry.
She's an acquired taste. I totally get it. As much as I love her and I loved her movie,
when she shows up though in Endgame, I love it. I
love her in the ensemble films.
Okay,
she's great in the ensemble films because she's right where she needs to be. Personality.
Her character dovetailed with her live personality in the wrong way. She kind of has this awkward fit with the other people. She's prickly. She's a little arrogant, and all this stuff. But that works in the film, and I don't think a lot of the audience really had the opportunity to make that distinction because she's Kree, and Kree are arrogant, imperialistic. They look down on every other race. They either in the comic books, the Kree show up and they're either going to blow your planet up or they're going to take over. And the judge come down, with the big hammer, and they're basically like, will you guys fall in line and obey? If not, we're going to just blow this place up and move on. And that is their attitude to like everybody else in the universe. And she absorbed that, not knowing that she was ever human and having the power she had. So her being kind of like a dick in the movie, for people who didn't really understand the context, it was kind of like, I get why y'all didn't like her because she really was just.
I loved it.
But that worked. That worked in like Endgame when she shows up and they're like, "Look, we've been doing this superhero stuff and she's like,
I'm saving the world. I'm in other planets.
She's kind of like
I got other stuff.
The Earth obviously has the Avengers. The rest of the world or the rest of the universe
just had her, right?
And so, but that arrogance and that kind of like machismo thing she has going on totally worked. But I mean, in her standalone film, I struggled, guys. I wanted to love it so much because it was a female-led film. But she's like you said, she has this kind of thing like where she's just kind of dry, and I think it would have worked if we would have had a little bit more livelier characters around her. It almost felt like the entire film had kind of semi-dry people, and I don't know.
Nick Fury as a sidekick kind of threw some people off too. This is a guy who commands the scene, and then he's kind of falling behind, and he's not the Nick Fury that we all know now.
We met 20 years ago, right?
Right, and so people were kind of like, Nick Fury's running around kind of lost. He's getting his butt kicked at every other scene. He don't know what's going on. Like,
they should have had a younger Nick Fury. Like they should have, cast someone, and like we know him present day, but they should have had another actor who could have, almost made that, into something, and I don't know. I guess because there wasn't enough time in between all of the films that you really can't, cast him as anyone else. You just got to try to make him look young. Okay, guys. So the next thing that I want to talk about in this movie, I wanted to love it. I did love it. I would say if I had to give it a grade, for me, 10. Usually all the movies that I love, they're like a 10. Spider-Man was definitely a 10, if not a 12. Like I was giving it extra points. But Black Widow, it was like a 7 for me. And I wanted to discuss this one because I needed to figure out why I couldn't love it. I was loving like her sister. I was loving her father. I was loving everyone but her. And the action sequences were amazing. The sets were amazing. They had spent a lot of time on this. And usually, Scarlett Johansson doesn't fall flat for me, but she fell flat for me. I don't know. I know it was very disturbing. It was very disturbing for me not to love it, obsess about it. And I've seen it like twice, and I will say I will watch it probably a couple more times. I didn't feel the way that I felt, about Brie Larson. And Brie Larson, if she ever watches this, I love her and loved her in other things. I just didn't love her solo movie.
Well, I loved you, Brie. I loved you.
Yeah, and she did win me back, during Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just so hard, guys. Hilton, what did you think? Did you think Black Widow was missing something? And if it was missing something, what did you think it was missing? Because it was missing something for me.
We got to remember who Black Widow is as a character. And I think one of the miscalculations that the studio might have made is that they overestimated, the character itself, not necessarily Scarlett Johansson's performance or any of that stuff, but Scarlett Johansson, but Black Widow is permanently a sidekick character. And even in the comics, I mean, she may have her own title and she may show up with certain missions and stuff, but she is the most valuable. She's the Scottie Pippen for any movie she's in. If you like in Winter Soldier,
yes.
The Winter Soldier, you could not have done it without her. The role she played,
amazing.
In Infinity Wars and Avengers, she was brilliant, but she was a sidekick character, right?
Yeah.
And where they missed the ball is there was a story to be told about the Black Widow program that was supposed to kind of imbue her character with a little bit more heft and depth and impact that we would then have been able to receive and go, oh, we didn't know she was all of that. And that backstory was supposed to be told and they didn't tell it. And they didn't really go into the Black Widow program. If you watch the movie, you got a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a couple of artists that I follow on social media that were in the movie, but got very little screen time because they cut out so much of the action involving the Black Widow Corps. Right. Yeah. So we never got the sense, like the reveal of the Black Widow Corps being everywhere and operatives all over the world, controlling the world and all of that. That reveal should have been just as impactful as in Winter Soldier to say, Hydra's everywhere. We already took over. We took over years ago. You just didn't know it. And now we're pointing these guns at all the people on Earth, and we're about to take out about 7 million people that we think are going to be a problem. Are you down?
Right.
And they're like, oh my God, they're everywhere. And you're watching people who we thought were down and be like,
and it was like Hydra, and you're like, no, what is happening? Yes,
Gary Shandling is with Hydra. What is going on? This is crazy. So we didn't get that same.
It should have been.
It reveal and it ended up being Black Widow with her sister, Black Widow with her mother, Black Widow with her father, and then Black Widow with this very poorly defined. And we talked about this in the last show. The villain fell flat.
Oh,
that guy not
flat as a pancake.
I was waiting for him to not be. He was so flat. I was like, oh wait, he's not gonna be the villain. Like we're gonna get up and find out that it's somebody else, and then we're all gonna go, and it was him, and we were, but
we just we didn't really care.
And see, this is one of the things about Marvel that I have to remind people. I say, think about a movie like be your least favorite Marvel movie, right? So in this case, we're talking about Black Widow. In the context of the other 25 films, yes, this one was a failure to whatever degree. Right. But if you take it out of the context of the Marvel movies and stand it up against almost any other movie you've seen, this movie is like an 8 or a 9.
It's great,
as opposed to a 6 or a 7.
Yeah,
and that's a testament to Marvel and what they have done. But it also means that there's some things they should have done differently. I personally did not like what they did with the Taskmaster. Yeah. I thought it was a real pithy idea, kind of pull the rug out, but they missed a huge opportunity to bring in a character that, just is like, could have been in other series and could have done a lot of stuff. And they kind of made her and ultimately a character that just was a throwaway character. And that reveal, I think, was more of a gimmick. And, I was like, okay. I still liked it. I love her
Yeah.
sister. Pugh is her last name,
Oh,
and she was in
yes.
Hawkeye, and she's
Yes.
going to be doing Black Widow stuff in Phase 4.
Well, it just
Love her as an
shows
actress.
you where she's gonna go on, and she's gonna carry on this black. And like, if nothing else, we got the gift of her and that character. I mean, when she showed up in Hawkeye, I was like, ah! But that's the thing. I should not be yelling louder for her sister than I was for her. Like that is a problem, you know. So that's why
And
I
her
got a
best
7.
scenes were when she was sitting there hovering over a pot of mac and cheese, talking with it. That's like her best scene.
Yes.
Not even the fight scenes or the action scenes. That's how
But
good
when
she
they
was.
were in the elevator and she's like, that's just annoying. When she's like pushing all the buttons. And, it was like, but yeah, her sister, I fell in love with her. You guys are going to die because, you know, I love period pieces, and she was in Little Women.
Oh, Lord.
She was the new Little Women. She was the scene stealer of this whole movie. Every time this girl would talk or do something, she was just amazing. And so when I saw that she was going to be in Black Widow, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be good. She's a good actress. But yeah, it just fell flat for me. How did you feel about it, Christy?
Listen, it was, I was just happy to be there. I was happy to see it. It was not that.
Bless his heart.
Bless his heart. I really was. And I'm always, you know, again, I can't
Christy's
say
like
this.
the fan who just like, she's just happy to watch a good movie. Like she just needs to be entertained for a few hours. Where we're like overanalyzing everything.
No,
and she really goes as a fan and just enjoys it. Like, which we all should.
When I am part of a universe, or when I claim myself to be part of a tribe, like you like it, I love it, I'm going to support. And so it just wasn't even that memorable for me. But I'm one of those where I'm like, I cannot go out into the world and say, oh, this was trash, I don't know why they did it. Because of the bigger branding, like the bigger picture, I'm just a fan. But you both bring up really interesting a point in stating, you know, and then it makes you want to tackle other pieces, like, does everybody deserve, or do we need these individual highlight movies about every single character? Because I really think that chemistry, when you look at the overall, like the Avengers work so well. It's 8,000 people in that film, but it works so well because they're a team, and they're just they're a band.
They don't have to carry it. They have to carry the load on their own. Like they literally.
Like I'm gonna tell you, I don't want to see a film just with Drax. I can't do it. I can't do it. Love you, Dave Bautista, you know, but I can't do it. I'm not going to see that. I mean, she was
the only one that shockingly didn't entertain me. Because when I saw Hawkeye, I'm going to tell you guys, I've never been really like Hawkeye. Hawkeye's my favorite.
I know,
character.
right?
Like I've never like you said, he's a great supporting character. He's a great sidekick. He comes in and the clutch, you know. I loved what they did with him, you know, in Endgame, where he went to the dark side because he lost his family in the blip. Like, it was one of those things that I didn't even expect that. I didn't expect such a dark situation, but that's what made me love Hawkeye so much, was because what happened during the blip for that 5 years came back to haunt him. And if you haven't watched Hawkeye, it's been out forever, but we're not spoiling anything for you.
Are you trying to talk to me? What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I know.
So the reality is what Hawkeye is based in is that, you know, he is with his family. You think it's like happy-go-lucky. He doesn't know what to do with Natasha being dead. He's kind of in this weird place. And someone finds that what is the character? Oh gosh, well, I can't think of it. They end up wearing the costume he wore when he was Ronin. They end up wearing the Ronin costume.
See, I know
Ronin went and killed everybody. He was killing all the bad people. If you did something bad in that 5 years,
hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your husband, killing everybody.
Yeah, and it was Hawkeye, because Hawkeye he lost his entire family, so he had nothing to live for. So, and they even talk about it in Endgame, where they're like, you know, you know, there's these cartels, they were massacred, and it's like, look, I don't even know if we want to bring him back because of the things that he's been doing. And Natasha's like, no, I'm not going to judge him in his worst moment. That was why at Endgame he wanted to die, because he was like, even if we get my family back, who am I going to be?
Right.
Since I've gone off this ledge, like, I don't even want my family to know me. And she was like, no, you know, I've waited this whole moment, you know, to have this opportunity to save you guys and to save, to do my part. And I think that's why I was crying when Natasha died in Endgame, because I was like, oh my God, yeah, you know, she sacrificed herself. But in Hawkeye, they did such a beautiful, I just thought it was really great at how that past came back to haunt him. And he then had a new sidekick, and she's a beautiful, wonderful actress. But tell me what you thought of Hawkeye, Hilton. Was it something that you enjoyed? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
I really did. I really did enjoy it. It had a lot of Die Hard vibes to it.
Yes.
You know, this guy's just trying to hang with his family.
He's
trying to make it home for Christmas. It's that same Bruce Willis just trying to make it home for Christmas. Can't quite get there. Stuff keeps happening.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't have his arrows, and he doesn't have his bow, and he doesn't have his suit because he's retired. You know, it's all over, and he has to get dragged into this. But to your point,
drags him in.
The reason why this worked, let's be very honest, the reason why Hawkeye worked in a way that Black Widow didn't is because Hawkeye was a series on the small screen where you had more time to kind of map out the terrain, get to know these new characters that we hadn't seen before, and then bring them together on the screen. You know, him and his protege, right? Are not, they don't start off being in that relationship. Like, he almost kills her because he sees the Ronin costume and attacks her because he thinks it's somebody trying to be Ronin, and he's like, oh my God, it's a kid. And you know, then that kind of draws all this negative attention. Now she's in danger, her family's in danger, etc., etc. But they could have done a better job with Black Widow as a series.
Yeah, they could have. Because then they would have been able to dive into that backstory and really
live in it, marinate in it. Just think about it. The Hawkeye story is a really slow boil. You know, I mean, there's no superheroes or supervillains flying around. This is intrigue. Like, people are moving funny. Like, people are showing up in places they're not supposed to be in. Oh, somebody's dead. Who did that? I think it was that person. Wait a minute. And you're really, the journey is the evolution of our main character, which is the young lady whose name just escapes me. The actress,
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, who's brilliant casting for this role. Yeah. But she is going to be taking on the mantle. She has done everything that she needs to do in order to take it on, and then just accidentally runs into her idol, which is Hawkeye. So I think that just shows the power that the TV series it has as a medium that I hope they use more of. Not just because I'm paying, you know, X amount of dollars for Disney Plus and I want the most of my money.
Right.
But it is a viable storytelling medium for these stories now, where it wasn't before. I mean, I don't know if any of you ever caught an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. Well, it just goes to show you, I am the ultimate product of, you know, I wasn't a huge Wanda fan. I wasn't a Hawkeye fan. I wasn't, you know, there are these characters, like you said, they were sidekicks. They were wonderful sidekicks. They were amazing. But when it came to them, like, do I really want to watch a story by themselves? Like, I don't really want to watch that story. But when I got this, and now it's changed me. Now I'm like, I'm more excited about what's coming on Disney Plus than I am some of the standalone films, because I feel like you just don't have the time to tell the stories and give the backstory and do these, like, really win us over the way that you know, these characters won me over. Like, now I'm a diehard fan, and that's really a good, like, testament to them passing the torch, because we just lost Captain America, we just lost Iron Man, you know, and now we have a lot of new characters, so to speak. And now they're kind of taking over the torch and winning our hearts, you know, and that really kudos to Marvel for that. Because I mean, I've never seen anyone do that. I've never seen anyone drag me along for 10 plus years. I mean, come on. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
The perfection of the post-credit scenes in movies. We are now conditioned at almost any movie we see now. where we're like
Sit in that
waiting.
chair.
Should we wait till the
I
credits
Google
are
it.
over?
I Google it every time.
And you know,
Are there end
I do
credits?
it for Marvel movies because
Yeah.
not because I'm not sure if there's one, but there might be 2 or 3.
Right. I
depending
want to
on
know
the
how
movie.
many.
I don't
But
get up
you know,
until the
I'm
lights
to the
come
point
on.
where
Right.
if I see somebody
The
getting
cleaning
up,
crew, they got to start
and
cleaning up.
if I'm in a Marvel movie and I see people getting up as soon as the screen goes dark and credits start rolling, I'm like, what planet are you on? What are you doing? Sit down.
Yeah.
Like,
Was
like,
that
I almost feel like a teacher. The bell doesn't
Yes,
dismiss
sit
you.
down.
I dismiss you.
Yeah, like they're
Right.
crazy. They were doing, and I'm like, "What are you doing? You
where
know
have
this is
you
about to
been?
be like, what is going on? Like,
Oh man.
Somebody
Oh my
didn't teach
gosh.
them right. Somebody didn't train them up
they,
right.
yeah, that
They
poor
didn't get 'em
things.
ready. I
Bless
know.
their heart.
Yes.
Bless their
Oh.
heart. Okay,
So-
so yes,
Oh, I just wanted to ask the two of you a question because you know I didn't have a lot to say. But my
please.
question is this part of the Marvel formula that may need to be tweaked? And do you think that they could then go back and maybe do a just to give Black Widow, does it deserve that, or do we just roll with the it was a meh and we're just gonna keep it moving and keep her engaged in the whole clique, or what was the future?
I don't know. Like, I honestly think that but this is the thing. Black Widow is supposedly dead. Like, she died, and they talk about her dying in Hawkeye, and her sister, her sister shows up to kill Hawkeye. Essentially, a Black Widow shows up to ruin, and to kill her, and she ends up, he ends up able to explain to her that it wasn't his fault that she died, and he wins her over. And I think there will be a Black Widow series, but I don't think it'll have Scarlett Johansson. I think it's going to have her sister and all of the other Black Widows that are around the world, because they've opened up that can
I'd actually like
worms.
that.
I do too.
Okay.
I love that it won't be it's not just one person. Like, we know that these more
It's like
ensemble
007.
cast.
It's a designation, not a person.
So that's what I see. I see that being the series, is where they're going to have this new actress. They're going to have all these other Black Widows around the world, and just that world, and her dealing with that kind of thing. But I don't think it'll be, Scarlett Johansson. I think with all the stuff that happened, and the lawsuit and the streaming, and even her character just kind of, her character kind of just ending, in the movies. Yeah, I think that they're done with. I think that part is done, but this new, I think that's why she showed up in Hawkeye, because they needed to open the door for the new stuff, which will be the new actress.
You do see her doing voice work for her character in What If series, and What If, depending on what they do with the multiverse in the phase 4, they may go into a world where there is a Black Widow, and she may reappear in that way, but it'd be episodic. It wouldn't be like she has her own movie and they're going to redo the Avengers or anything like that. I think
too, like the What If series.
I like Karen's idea better.
Yeah, I think with the What If series, that was filmed so long ago, because like they have Chadwick, his voice is on there. So I mean, they obviously recorded all of that and did that. You know how long it takes for those animated series to happen. So I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm thinking, and Florence Pugh, I don't know how to say her last name. Florence Pugh.
You said it right.
Who played, she's who played Yelena. She's Natasha's sister. Okay. So your homework, Miss, is to go watch the last episode. We had our love letter. You have to go watch Loki. I don't know how that's going. You got to watch WandaVision, and now you've got to go watch Black Widow. Okay. So the last thing we're going to discuss, which is one of the newer movies that came out, I'm going to go Shang-Chi, because I could go Eternals, but I'd rather go Shang-Chi. Eternals.
Thank you.
It was on my Black Widow list. I wasn't feeling it. I fell asleep. I know. And I know. And there's a lot of good stuff. I need to go back and just give it the.
You got to power through it. I'll say one thing.
Okay.
With both of your permission, I will say one thing.
Absolutely.
It is a movie that, for a lot of reasons, did not resonate with about 50% of the Marvel Cinematic audience, because it's not a Marvel superhero movie. It is a drama, but you are going to have to watch it, because, and I'm not really spoiling anything here, but there are two things that are going to define phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic and television universe. One is the multiverse wars, and the other is the judgment of Arishem. And either Kang is going to conquer all the universes and put us all in slavery, or a giant space god is going to punch his fist through the surface of the earth. So, that is reason enough to watch.
I agree.
I agree. Through it.
You have to watch Eternals. You're right. There's so many things that are going to basically help. It's almost like the glue that's going to tie all this stuff together. But
interesting.
That's why you got to go watch Loki.
I got to. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm telling you, it's like so many layers. Many layers to this stuff.
I got it coming at every angle. Got it.
Yes. Like, you know what? This is the thing. When they first did the whole Shang-Chi thing, and I heard, I was like, please get this right, because the Asian culture, like, we needed Black Panther, they needed Shang-Chi, and I felt like they got it right. Like, it was
great,
beautiful, it was graceful, it was historic, it was present day, like it was present day funny jokes,
modern,
the ensemble cast, the camaraderie between the characters, like, it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. I've watched it multiple times. I absolutely loved it. And I was like, don't get this one wrong. don't you get this one wrong. And thankfully they didn't. And I love the actor they cast as the lead. He is so charismatic and so likable. And just like, I didn't expect for him to be so funny. Like I love the scene when they're doing the karaoke.
There's like 3 of them. Like, everybody does karaoke at some point in this movie. We're like, what is going on?
Right. But that's big in the Asian culture. Like, you can go to Chinatown here in LA, and like they have karaoke rooms just like it. So it was like, everything. Okay, Hilton, I'm gonna let you take it away. Christy, I'm gonna come back.
I think you said a lot. I think you said a lot that I would have said, because it was universally just so beautifully done in all the same ways that you would have remember, like a Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yes.
Respect and that mythical, when they went into the Asian culture, and even though this is comic book history, they treated it with the respect as if it were like real allegory from real ancient Chinese stories, and the art and everything down to the way the language inflection and the way families were set up, and the way you look at patriarchy and the the demands of Asian families, all the way back to, and then you've got like these I wouldn't even say comic book accurate, like these are like etchings from the 3rd century accurate dragons and demons. Just putting that in so perfectly was a task that I could not even imagine. And I think they did a lot of the stuff that they did that got right for Shang-Chi, because they took a lot of the same steps in the Asian direction as they took in the African direction for Black Panther. And so that metaphor that some people are not necessarily comfortable with, saying, oh, Shang-Chi is the Disney Black Panther or the Asian Black Panther. In a lot of ways, that's absolutely right, because they approach it in the same way. They're like, okay, if we look around at any moment during this production and we don't see somebody Asian talking about what we should be doing, we're not doing something right here. So
we're not respecting the culture.
The producers, the writers, the costume designers, everything just went right across the board. And they put the right amount of comedy. Everything was perfect.
I never understand why people would get upset, like with saying, "Oh, this is the Black Panther, for the Asian community." I don't know how you get upset. They deserve that.
Sensitive.
It's like they deserve a movie that takes care of the culture. Like, we deserved a movie that took care of the culture, and it's great for someone like me, who you just learn so much. Like, isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that what entertainment is for us to be able to learn and grow? And, I want to be exposed to all of it. Christy, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, because that's right up my alley. So now the interesting thing is, first of all, yes, we always need appreciation. We always need that cultural space to be highlighted in film, because you can be educated and entertained at the same time, and those always make for a much greater impact. The interesting thing, though, if you look at the list of writers and directors, there's not a name in those lists that lines up with the cast, meaning culturally, this was not like a Black Panther, because Ryan Coogler is blackety black, and had full range, full run, full everything. So that's an interesting thing, but I think for me, and again, let me just start out by saying I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I love cultural films, and that can have action, can have love, can have all these different dynamics. And it told a great story. And you're right, it gave great respect to the culture, to the traditions in that culture, which I love. Real culture, you know what I mean, where you actually have a history and you have traditions. You have a style. There's a colorism. It's just a lot. But what I find interesting is that I feel like they may have done so well with this because Asian history is not a secret. It's not anything that is considered taboo in America. And so
we've been in love with it.
We've always had an affinity. It's that exotic type, it's just an Eastern exotic versus, a South American type exotic. So it's treated a little differently. And I think that may be why they could get away with not one Asian name listed. Now, for God forbid, if some of the writers are, I'm
gonna go research.
Yeah, you got to go look. You got to look at the list of names of the writers and the producers and directors. They don't match up with the cast. You got Chens and Woos and Wangs, and And I'm just saying it's very different from what we were used to, what we saw with Black Panther. But that's because Black Panther is, again, it's what it's centrally focused on is taboo today. They burn it. They're going to burn Black Panther comics and just the books and the film, anything that pays tribute or homage or honors, that Black culture. And they're very different existences in this space.
Well, I will say this. The director is Destin Daniel Cretton, and he is Asian. He is Asian. Yeah. So the director, I believe they had, this is the thing. I believe they had the key people who needed to be there to make sure things are accurate, make sure things are tradition. They were there. But
when you have a what's her name, who is iconic, honey, iconic. She is the original. Crouching Tiger. You got somebody like that. Yeah, you're gonna have. She
ain't signing on for just anything.
Exactly, because that's been the makeup of who she has been in this cinematic space.
Michelle,
I mean, yes, she's legendary. She is she's a treasure, international treasure.
I want to just put this out here because not everybody knows this, but if you have Disney Plus, they've got this series called Assembled. So all the movies, they do it, they're like an hour-long mini documentary of, how they shot the series or how they shot this movie. And like a certain amount of time after a movie comes out, they'll have it. And the one that they did for Shang-Chi just really gave so much insight. The guy got the role from a tweet. Like he tweeted and tagged Kevin Feige. And I don't remember what the tweet he forwarded was, but he was like, are we going to do this, Kevin?
And, when are you going to have an Asian superhero? And he was like, and I'm the one. Like,
I'm the guy, and that's how he ended up in consideration.
I love getting an audition.
I love that.
And
that's a dream come true right there.
Yeah,
that's kind of magic right there.
That is,
and it really, So, but I think everything you're saying is right, Christy. I think that the affinity we have for Asian culture in this country across all the races here in America did allow for them to go as deep as they did without controversy, because there are no Western negative implications going further into Far Eastern history,
right?
As you would we had to mention things like slavery and the exploitation of Africa and all this stuff in order to tell a contextual story about Black Panther. So there's probably a couple people kind of like sitting in the audience or sitting on set going, ooh, this is uncomfortable. Whereas with Shang-Chi, like, you know, the deeper you go, the more exotic it is, the more beautiful it is. And even the more detached everybody else who's not a part of that culture can look objectively on it for its objective beauty and everything from the martial arts, which was almost a character in the movie, the magic
in and of itself,
you know,
the magic,
and might I say the brilliant retcon of the Mandarin as a character from Iron Man 3, and telling the story about how the Mandarin is real and the one that they had as an actor, you know, did not end up being, because a lot of us were upset at, you know, having Sir Ben Kingsley, as great as he was in that role. We were like, oh man, the Mandarin, y'all don't even understand in the comics is this and this and this. And then they kind of just faked this out. And then they're like, you know what? Let's figure out a way to actually bring the Mandarin while keeping Ben Kingsley as canon in the movies as somebody who actually did what he did. And
make a difference in this film. Yeah, it was so good.
He was so good in it.
It was so good to see him too. Like, it was amazing. Like, I was just like, I can't, and again, that is a beautiful way that they threaded a character that was like 10 years ago, and brought him back. Like, everything counts, everything matters, because later,
you hear that, Sony? See how you do it?
See how you do.
Acknowledge the movie that came before.
I bet you.
That's all you got to do.
You know, all of these houses, all these, you know, they are out there and they are like assembling their Avenger room just to be able, you have to make it all make sense. It all has to have continuity. It all has to connect. It all has to, like, everything has to count. What happens here becomes a big deal over here, you know? And I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw like the previews and I saw like, I just was like, I hope they don't get this wrong, because like they had Awkwafina, who's like almost one of those actors who she's very commercial. Yeah. It's almost, she's very commercial now. She's been in a lot of movies, but she was really good in this.
She was.
She
will never get her flowers for this because of the controversy.
She
was good.
She's good in everything she's been in, actually.
Good.
She just,
I think
she's misstepping too often. She's misstepping.
And I think it's one of those things where, you know, obviously she's gotten heat because she does, you know, pretend to be Black. Like, that is part of her shtick, you know, that's part of her. And the thing is she should have, from that very first interview, been like, you know what? I the Black culture is a part of my culture. This is where I grew up. This is what I know. And just embrace it instead of.
Well, she did. What was
funny was she was trying to say, I didn't want to play. She said, I don't want to play an Asian character, and I don't want to be a stereotypical Asian character. And so then the Black community was like, but you gonna be a stereotypical Black character?
Right.
Like, what you doing?
And then the other mistake
almost
she
backfired,
made,
you know?
Yeah. And then part of that backfire that she self-induced was because even though she put out her statement saying, listen, PS 125 is that's what I understand that. And I do understand that. And I acknowledge that. But the problem is you put this statement out and then you went back and started liking comments that were defending your initial position. And it's like, you can't go and co-sign with this. I know it'll get you into trouble. You
social
just gotta,
media 101.
She should have stated her piece and
then turn your phone off.
Walk away.
Turn your phone off. Or do like Beyonce. Like, she doesn't even talk about anything. She won't even address it. Like, she won't even give it any attention unless it just has to have attention.
It's been the smartest thing she's done for a decade at least. We don't see her in that space unless she wishing somebody a happy birthday with the baby picture. It's like, that's it. But yeah, good stuff.
But you know what? I will say this: she did a phenomenal job in this movie. Yeah, and she wasn't like her. You know, she wasn't the girl you saw in Jumanji. She wasn't the girl you saw in, you know, Ocean's 13 or what. She was pivotal to the storyline and pivotal to the character, and
she was a very good sidekick.
Yeah,
and she had her own arc. You know, we met her family. Yeah, you know, and found out what they're. You know, we bought into her. But again, we cared what happened to her.
And it just opens the door for some really cool things that, you know, they're planning. This was a successful film. and I literally enjoyed it. I ended up seeing, this is one of the films I didn't see when it came out because of COVID, but I saw it as soon as I streamed it. Like I just bought it and streamed it. Like I was like, I'm gonna watch it.
Yep.
But it was so good. It was so good. So kudos to that. I can't wait to see what happens with that. And hopefully, like you said, you know, we'll get more films, or we'll get a series, you know, from it. I don't know. I know they got to do more stuff. Like,
can I throw something out there real quick that a lot of people might not know? The couple that is sitting across from them in the beginning of the movie and toward the end, when Wong comes in and takes them to the sanctuary.
Yes.
Do you know that they're the ones who are shoveling the sanctum? when Peter Parker comes in and snow everywhere, the two people shoveling, that's them.
No.
Yes. Yeah. I did. Oh my gosh. Okay. See, that's why you got to go back and watch everything.
You gotta look in there with your nerd glasses.
Your blurred glasses.
Your blurred glasses.
My blurred glasses. They be telling on me.
We gotta sell blurred glasses. That's the thing. Oh my gosh, guys. Thank you.
This is great.
So much. We got to do this again, because literally there's so many things we didn't even talk about. Like I feel like there's 20 other shows that
we got so much.
Yeah, because Marvel got it right. They get it right. Oh. And they've got the blueprint, and you all calling out these other studios. I'm telling you, they better pay. I hope they pay attention. We got to tag them or something. Y'all need to figure out how this works. They know.
That's why when you were watching, like, what was the Aquaman? They did like Aquaman, and they showed Aquaman's world, and it literally carbon copied Wakanda when they first flew into Wakanda. I mean, it was like, come on, DC.
But that ain't the way.
Wins.
I know the internet wins. They made Wet Panther.
Yeah.
Yes. Basically, like, gosh. But you know what? That's the thing. They overthink everything. Like they overthink everything, and they're not getting anything right because it's just overproduced, overthought out, you know, and yeah, man. I wanted to love Wonder Woman, the part 2, and it was terrible. Oh. Okay, so this is the next thing we're gonna do. We just gave our love letter to Marvel, and we're not here to pick apart movies, but what we are going to tell you in our next episode is we are going to talk about the movies we had problems with and how we think we could fix them. You know, there's a couple of movies out there, some of those DC films we're gonna have to we'll pick apart and dissect it. But until next time, you guys, thank you for watching Blurred, the BOP, the Blurred official podcast. I can't even talk. The whole DC thing just threw me off. I shouldn't have ended on a bad note. I should have kept it on a good note. Oh, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.